Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, all those fun things we have to say because you're all over the world. My delivery's here. I was holding off waiting for this delivery before I started, but you can just look at my fish tank for a minute. My delivery. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're all staying safe and having a good day wherever you are in the world. I changed things up a little bit this morning. It's sort of not by choice. My mouse died on the Mac and they have batteries. So I'm changing all the batteries out. None of the batteries are working. Having a bit of a panic attack. Luckily, our guest today, Kendall, is super organized. So he's like, no, Josh, we need to be on earlier. We need to make sure all this stuff works. And I've had to use a completely different computer. And I'm sitting in the middle of the garage instead. There was a mouse involved. So this morning has been hectic. But the mouse is now gone, I can say, safely. But I'll quickly say hello to GRB. 30-minute reminder received on time. Thanks, YouTube. It's doing its thing. Sheps Aquatics. Hey, hey, hey. Punchy, working and lurking. Otter Creeksy, that's always a bonus. Guppy Guru, Dan's Fish Room, Streetwise, Nathan, hope you're feeling well. David, Aquarian Thoughts, Dragon Lair, Chevy, how's the shoe smell going on Salt Tank? Well, all right, there's a quick little update. There's no shoe smell anymore. For those that missed it, everybody was laughing at me last week while I was trying to figure out what was going on in my tank. Wow, it got really dark all of a sudden then. And then someone actually helped me after the stream. So we got the skimmer up and running and it fixed the problem. So I was right. And yes, we murdered a mouse. He was eating all of our food and the dog's food. So he was becoming unpopular. I like red plants. Welcome. Big D Smoke. Sharon Miller. Thirsty Rabbit. How are we all? Can't stay. Got a coaching clinic to learn how to coach in these new times. Nah, you're good, Thirsty. I think I'll have to catch up on all that soon too. Anyway, let's get to the point. This week we have Kendall from Otter Creek Aquatics on. Me and Kendall have actually done a live stream or two before together, and we've done a collaboration on our tips and tricks to breeding antlers and how they varied so much. So it was a lot of fun to work with Kendall, and ever since we sort of just kept touch. So it's good to catch up with Kendall again. Good morning or afternoon or evening.
Good evening for me.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. And I hope everyone in the chat's doing good. So I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really happy to be on your stream because I feel like your community is really true behind you. So I'm just glad to be able to get involved and get in front of them. So hopefully they like what I have to say, and hopefully we have a good stream.
I think so. I think these guys are awesome, and they're all really supportive, and they all have their own great content or, you know, great input into a lot of the questions and streams and just general chats that we have. They're still rolling in. Not Nola Jane, Scott's Aquatics. I saw Streetwise before. But yes, no, some of them will know who you are. Some of them won't. The whole theory behind this Aquamate experience is to delve right back to the very beginning with a guest and see where it all began. So what started you keeping fish? What sort of fish were they? And tell us the story about how that all came about.
So the first fish that I ever kept was a pacu. So I'm sure you're all familiar with this type of fish. It's one of the biggest fish that is in the hobby, and it's actually in the same family as a piranha. So my parents got this pacu. I was probably 3 or 4 years old, and they got this pacu when it was probably 2 inches long. They got it from the fish store and brought it home, kept it in a 55-gallon tank. And from there, that pacu actually lived probably 12 or 13 years. they actually live a lot longer than that. But because we never upgraded the tank size, it kind of just ended up passing away because it didn't have much room to grow. So there's kind of a lesson there, and it taught me a lot about the size of tanks when keeping fish. But this pacu was so big that it literally had to stand on its nose to turn around and go into the other side of the tank. But that fish was a whole lot of fun. You could actually reach down in the tank. It would let you pet it. It would kind of turn on its side so you could rub its belly. And it was pretty much a wet pet. It was like a puppy dog. And I love that fish. I've never had a tank big enough to actually keep another one. But if I ever get the tank space, I'm definitely going to try to keep another one of them. But then growing up, I just had tanks off and on. I had pretty much a turtle tank all through high school. So we went on a vacation to Florida, and I seen some really small red-eared sliders down there that I just wanted to bring home. So I got 2 of them. I think I had them in like a 40 breeder, and they grew out pretty big until I ended up going on to college. I took them and gave them in college. I think I had a tank every single year, and I just had a 10-gallon that I took to each different apartment or each different place I lived in, because I was in school for 5 years and I lived 5 different places. So I had that 10-gallon tank, took it everywhere. I kept guppies, I think a pair of swordtails, some platies. I think I had a pair of German blue rams in there, but it was just a whole lot of fun. And then after college, I kind of got out of the hobby for a little bit until we went to the Newport Aquarium, and we actually took my son there, and he was probably 1 year old or so at that time. And it was probably his second or third word, but he started saying fishy, and he just absolutely loved the aquariums. So I wanted to get one because I've always had one, and I wanted him to have that experience and have an aquarium growing up. So I just got an aquarium. And then I started watching YouTube and seeing all of these amazing fish rooms, and I'm just like, yep, I'm doing that. So I ended up just getting more tanks, started building the fish room. As you all know, maybe not some of your supporters, but I had an older fish room. It wasn't the best fish room, but it actually functioned. And then once I figured out and watched some more videos, that's when I wanted to actually transition to the garage, which is where I am now, and build this fish room exactly how I wanted it. It's working out pretty well so far. There's still some modifications that I need to do, but I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I get to share it with you all. So that's kind of how that's how I got on YouTube. I just started sharing and started growing from there.
Well, there you have it. I have no questions now, because I was going to ask you about all of those, but you sort of covered everything off. But it's amazing, and you sort of like you were born into the hobby and you never let it leave you. Even going to college, you made sure you had a fish tank with you, which I reckon that is awesome. There was a question here I will forget to ask if I don't ask it now. Dan's Fish Room, who's an Aussie fish keeper. I would love to see these racks and how he's built them, similar to mine, but would love to know what fixing he's used, etc. You've actually got a video on setting up this new fish room, haven't you?
Yeah, I've made a couple videos on it so far. I didn't do one actually building the rack, but if that's something that people are interested in seeing, I know that a lot of people have done this type of video, so I kind of just stayed away from it. And I was kind of in a hurry to get it set up. But if you would like to see that, I do have a couple more that I need to build. So I could maybe put a video together or talk about the ones that I've already built. It's pretty simple, and they're really sturdy. Like, people think that it's way overkill, but the reason that I did it this way is because it's so easy. So anyone can do it. If I can do it, you can do it.
Is it a little bit similar to the King of DIY's designs? And just before you answer that, I just noticed a whole bunch of new people came in, so I just want to say hello. Big Tank, Hank, Tampa, Tom, Fishing, Monica Lynn, how are you? Lefty, what's up? Jill, how you doing? Teresa, look at that, Teresa. There's a fish tank behind me for once, so you can't bag me for not having a fish tank there. Select Pet, how are you? And Sticklets23. Now, yeah, was it similar to the King of DIY design, or where did you find the design, or you just come up with it yourself?
So actually the one that really inspired me for this design was KG Tropicals. So he built this type of, it's not really a rack because he only has one aquarium on it, but the double 2x4s on the side that you can see right here, that's kind of what he did on all of his racks or on all of his stands. A lot of people will drill those dado cuts where the 2x4 slides in, but in this situation, you don't have to cut those pieces out and slide that 2x4 in. It basically just has the outer shell, and then the second 2x4 right next to it. That's what's actually holding all of the weight of the rack.
I like that idea because that's something that I built this rack, this bench over here. And I've only got 4 fish tanks on there, but I'm constantly worried about it collapsing. But I do like, the double, sort of doubling it up, making sure that it's all about time, Josh. Yeah, making sure that it's all nice and supported in every corner. Now, you sort of disappeared for a little while. Me and Kendall were sort of supporting each other and like pushing each other a little bit to head towards that 1K, which Kendall beat me, which is good work. Well done. But then he just stopped. And I was like, where did he go? What's happened? Just went MIA, and your channel just continued to grow while you had to take a bit of a hiatus because you're working on that fish room. Is that right?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. There's actually multiple reasons for this. So for one, when I first started on YouTube, I was working day shift at my job, which was 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., pretty much 5 days a week. And now I took a supervisor role and got switched to night shift. So now I'm working 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., 5 days a week. So it's really hard to get family time and other things done when you're on that type of schedule, because the 2 days that I have off, I'm basically trying to transform my schedule to wake up early enough to where I can spend time with them and just get stuff done around the house. And like you said, another reason was I did transition from the spare bedroom fish room to the garage fish room. It took me a little bit longer than expected, but during that time, we had to get our water softener going because we were having issues with water hardness in our house. So the water is really hard where I live, and we run a water softener. So when the water comes through, it's not getting a bunch of lime buildup in our heater and our sinks and showers and things like that. But I wasn't running the water softener because I was having issue growing plants. So when we started having those other issues, I knew that I needed to get moved out here, get my own water line ran. That way I didn't have to run the water softener here in the new fish room. So during that time, I actually did 0 water changes for probably 2.5 months. So my tanks took a complete hit. I had algae pretty much in every single tank. And since then, I've been battling back, trying to get them relined out. And it's just been a struggle basically with that. But there's a couple other reasons why I slowed down making videos. I still tried to get one out every now and then just to keep people updated on what I was doing. But now that the fish room's almost done, we're going to get started back to making videos, and hopefully I can just balance everything else out in my life. That way everything's all good.
See, I'm the opposite. I only do this to get away from my family. It just gives me an excuse. So, no, very valid reasons. I thought it was really interesting the way that your channel continued to grow so rapidly and easily while you didn't do anything, and that's because you are really, really good at informing viewers and coming up with good topics, and you capture people in the first 20 seconds of a video, and then you explain how to do certain things or tips and tricks in a really, really good manner. And that's so lots of people search for lots of the terms that you use, but you explain it really well. And I've learned a few things from you. That's why I thought it was really, really fun to do the Enla video with you. But it's funny because it would have been, I suppose, not long after that where I had an Enla tank that had done no water changes for a year, and you were on top of everything. All of a sudden, what you just thought, hang on, if Josh is doing it, then I can not do water changes on my tank.
Yeah. Now, one of the reasons that I think my channel continued to grow was because, like you said, I was finding those search terms that people were searching for, and that plays a huge impact when you're a small YouTube creator, because a lot of people, like you see people like Mr. Beast, he could literally put a exclamation mark as his title, and he's still going to get 10 million views because he's got so many subscribers. Everybody's on notifications. Same with people like Dude Perfect. But when my videos come out, I don't have that many people that are going to see it right off the bat. So it's it's more of a long-term gain of views and watch time, I guess, rather than when you put it out, the video just explodes. So I think as a small creator, that's why you got to dial in your search terms and just put it out there and let the video do its job.
Yeah, I think you've taught me that as well. I've noticed to call them a slow burn now. And it's good because the reason we talk about it's not always about the numbers and all that sort of stuff, but it is encouraging to know when you put something out that 6 months, a year later, it's still relevant or it's still being watched. It really sort of, I know I call them the slow burn video, and yeah, they perk me up when I don't release a video for a while, or I release a video and think no one liked it or whatever. Just off over here in the chat, Total Tropicals TV, Josh, I just lost everything in the move. Thousands of fish gone. I'll do a live stream announcement in a week or two. Still moving and unpacking. That is horrible news. Sorry to hear that. I don't know. I was going to say hopefully some survive, but you just said you just lost everything. So I suppose lessons to be learned, and then, you know, maybe just start back up. Think about the things that you just keep it small. Think about the things that you loved about the old fish room and sort of use it as a chance to refresh, I suppose. Sort of in saying that as well, how did you go about moving all of those fish and all of those tanks, even though it was just from one room to another, but that must have been a pretty big job.
So the 10 gallons weren't that bad. And as I explained in one of the videos I made when I kind of introduced the fish room, there's actually 25 10-gallon tanks on these two racks. And I just basically drained them down to where there was barely any water and carried them out. I did it in a very slow manner to where it wasn't sloshing around. Yep. But I didn't lose any fish during that process. The 20-gallon tanks are pretty much all new. I had two 20-gallon tanks, sorry. I had two 20-gallon tanks in the old fish room, and now I have a rack of 9. So I've added 7 20-gallon tanks to this new fish room. But the two 20 gallons, I did the same exact thing. They were a little heavier, but I basically just had guppies and some corridors in there. Those were a little bit better because there was no substrate in them. So those tanks were actually pretty light. Whereas the 10 gallons with the soil, the sand, and the gravel, those tanks were actually heavier than those no substrate 20 gallons. So everything moved pretty easily. Now I know I haven't moved everything still, and that's the reason why. I've still got a 55, a 38-gallon bow front, a 29-gallon, and a 20 long in the old fish room. And I, when I said I wasn't doing any water changes, I've just been topping off on there.
Yeah.
Because once I got this water system set up, I actually started running my Python hose. I had to get a 50-footer, and I started running it to the spare bedroom from my garage. And then once I put the wall up to divide the garage, it wouldn't reach anymore. So I had no other choice than just to use the tank. So those tanks are really taking a hit right now on the plants that are in there. And I've actually moved a lot of the plants in here in a 40-gallon tub that I have just sitting on the floor. It's pretty much just full of plants that I have nowhere to put right now. But I basically just pulled all the plants out because I knew I was going to be using that water that was coming from the water softener. But it's not hurting the fish at all, which I think a lot of people know that have been keeping fish for a while, that salt's actually good for fish. So it's not hurting them at all, but salt in a plano tank, that does hurt them. And all of my tanks have aquarium plants, so plants definitely take a huge hit during that.
I've got this house plant right next to this tank, and every time I'm like trying to clean the tank, a bit of water goes over. I'm like, oh no, I learned that from The Simpsons when I think Homer salted Ned's garden to try and stop him from being able to grow things. Just while we've got 33 people here, if you haven't got Otter Creek Aquatics, and if you've got any mods that are able to just post a link to Kendall's channel, make sure you jump over and subscribe, because he's definitely one of my favorite channels. And if you haven't hit the like button, remember to do that while you're here as well. Can you take us through what is behind you? So how many tanks are in the fish room, and what are we specializing in?
So right now I have 25.
I like that. He's got a count.
I have 40, including the tanks in the old fish room. So these 25 tanks behind me, they're all 10 gallons. It's where I'm strain breeding a bunch of different guppies, endlers, and shrimp. And then the 20 gallons over here it's kind of just miscellaneous right now. I've got a pair of koi angels. I've got some bumblebee platies. I've got rainbow cichlids that I got from Bob Kaler. And if you all are looking for a pair of cichlids that you want to try to breed, definitely go check his rainbow cichlids out on Get Gills. They're amazing, and I've had them for 2 weeks, and they've already dropped eggs twice. They haven't raised any of the eggs up, but they're dropping the eggs like crazy. And then I only have one of the 40 breeders set up right now, and it's kind of a tank that I haven't talked about or shown yet, so I'm going to keep that secret. But there's some algae going on in there because it is a new tank. But as soon as it gets cleaned up, I'm going to set it up and show it on the channel. It's actually an amazing tank. And all I'm going to say is that the fish are orange themed. So all of the fish have a nice orange pattern. And currently there's 3 different types of fish in there.
Goldfish.
Negative. And then up top, I've got some stir-by corridors I'm trying to breed. I've got 2 different tanks of plecos. One are super reds and one are the calicos. I got both of them from Wild Fish Tanks. He has his own website where I purchased them, so go check him out as well. He does a really good job packaging, and I couldn't be happier with those fish. So I've got a lot of new projects going on, and now that I'm talking about it, I definitely need to make some update videos.
That's good. There's a lot of content there.
Yeah.
Just quickly, Benigo Balaclava, welcome. He's asking if this is a stolen hat. Yes, it is. I stole it from my dad. I did want to throw a little idea out there. This is a big freeze. So each time you buy one of these beanies, they do them every year. This is last year's or the year before. All the proceeds go to fighting MND, which is motor neuron disease. And they do a big thing over here where they get lots of the local football club, well, not local football clubs, but the big football clubs, the coaches or the players, they chuck them into an ice bath because apparently that's the way it feels when you have motor neurons disease. So you see these a lot in Australia, and they're all for a good cause. And it's coming up to that time to recognise it again. And I'm just didn't want to wear the San Francisco 49ers hat in front of you because of what happened in February. Also, Bob saying, Kendall, how are the rainbows doing? Which I think you just answered before. But Ginger Graves' pair spawned, and they're protecting the fry against her 2 large Oscars. So sounds like Bob's got some good quality rainbows that are very happy and healthy and doing well for you and Ginger as well. Now, are you selling stuff at the moment? Are you selling guppies and plants?
Yeah, so I was selling on Get Gills, and my stock's kind of low, especially on there, because I'm transitioning to my own website. You know, Dan's Fish does a really good job of organizing Get Gills for a lot of, I guess, small sellers to sell on his website. But I kind of just want to transition and create my own brand. That way, I don't really know why I want to do it, but I just want to have my own website to where I basically have a home base. So I can write blogs on there, and I can just do a whole bunch of different things that I can't get done with Get Gills. And one thing that I started, but no one ever really got interested in it, but I just like doing it, is writing blog posts. So instead of getting on here and making a video, like while I'm at work, I can just type something up and get it out. It's just another way of creating content and talking about fish with other people. But my website it's up, but it hasn't launched yet. You can go to ottercreekaquatics.com and sign up to get to the newsletter, and it'll send you an email, I believe, whenever we launch. I'm just waiting to get my stock up. That way, when I launch it, people are like, well, why do you only have 2 pair of fish on there if you have a whole website? So once I get the stock up, I'm going to launch it, and that's going to be the home base from now on.
No, I like it. It's a good idea. And I think I like that idea as well. You get your brand out there, because if you are doing, really high quality guppies and stuff, that it's a home base to go. You don't have to, Get Gills is like a Craigslist or whatever for fish, is it, in America?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go, I want the Otter Creek ones, that you've got a place where you can just go and do that. I suppose it doesn't limit you. You can still probably put things on Get Gills. You just probably can't put them on both sites and then sell them twice.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Are you doing plants as well, or just the guppies?
Yeah, I am doing plants as well. I have plants in stock. They're not on Get Gills, but I'm kind of just letting them get more established because they are farm raised right now. That's a lot of the plants that I sell. I make sure that I can get them growing in my water before I sell them out, so that if someone who is not really familiar with plants ever buys them, that way they're going to have better success rather than getting a farm raised plant, putting it down in their tank, and then seeing it melt back, freak out, think it's dying, and rip it out. So yeah. I'm kind of growing a lot of plants out right now, but I do have some available. So when the website launches, then there will be plants on there as well.
Do you run CO2 on any of your tanks?
Right now, I'm running CO2 on one tank, and that is the 40-gallon breeder.
Is it more of a display tank, or you've just got more finicky plants?
That is going to be a display tank, yeah. It's not anything that I'm trying to breed and sell. It's fish that I really enjoy that I wanted to put in a tank together, basically. But there are some higher end plants. They don't really need CO2, but it just grows them faster and helps combat the algae a little bit.
Yep. So I think you're the right person to ask this question. Dragon Lair, Mr. Kaplan, Guppy Guru, welcome. If I was to say, be new to the hobby and I really like endless, I really like guppies, and I decide to go and get a trio of guppies because I'd love to see them breed. So I get 2 females and 1 male. I put them in a tank and they breed. Yay me. Awesome. And then they breed again, and then they breed again, and then you've got heaps of guppies. That's cool. But when do you sort of hit a point where I can't breed those specific fish anymore? I need to get more of that type to mix up the gene pool. Like, how many generations or how quickly would you say, hey, this is doing well, I'm going to get more to add into the gene pool?
So there's only one strain that I currently have that I need to get more of, and Lefty's in the chat right now, and I actually was going to send him some of these fish, and they were lost in transportation, and I think it's because their genetics are getting weaker, and I have seen some curved spines and stuff like that in that specific strain, which I always call those fish out. But I've had that specific strain for 3 years, and that is the lime green endlers. And they originally came from Lucas Brett's. I'm not sure how long he's been breeding them before that. So that's the only fish that I've gotten to the point where I think I need to get some more of these fish and start mixing up the genetics right now. But as far as that goes, that's the only case that I've ever had. All the other ones, you know, all the strains are still going strong. So
no, that's absolutely. There's actually Anthony Fishy Friends. Hello, Joseph. How are you? I was watching your video before. Monica here says Otter Creek has amazing plants and fish, good quality, packed well, and shipped quickly. Highly recommend. Her red-tailed Dumbo guppies are doing great. So there you go. There's something you can put on your website.
Yeah, they're going to be on there.
What are they? Testimonial? Yeah, but I mean, put the testimonial from Monica on there.
Yeah.
What I was going to say then, if you decided to, go with a different strain then, so for someone that like yourself that breeds them and then on sells, would you not just start with a trio? Would you maybe get 3 males and 8 females or something like that, and try and have that varied strain, varied DNA, and then be able to theoretically go a lot longer without having to try and reintroduce new fish?
So honestly, what I like to try to do is start out with a trio, and 1, it's cheaper, and 2, it's just better than getting like a pair, because with 2 females, you're going to have fry a lot faster. And if you just have 1 female, then that male is just going to harass her even when she's pregnant. So it kind of gives the female a little bit of space, but let them breed out for a couple generations, and then you can introduce a new trio. So I've done this on a couple separate occasions, and things like, let's see, my platinum red tail mosaic Dumbos, they're doing really well. I actually did that with them, and I've done it with the Blue Galaxy Guppies from Twin Cities Guppies. And honestly, I think that is the best way to go, because right now those are my favorite 2 strains in the fish room.
I watch a lot of your videos and some of the fish, that I saw Monica's guppies, and I'm like, I really need to try and get a tank with fancy guppies, because I've told you before I had no luck, but I think the water is too soft over here, and it sort of they're fine for a little bit, then all of a sudden they're gone. Again, more new people. Scott Becker, Matthew Moore Cichlids, how are you? Long time no see. Maple Street Aquatics, Max S. I hope you guys are all doing well. I think Lefty's got another testimonial here saying that he will be a repeat customer too, with the fantastic customer service. That doesn't sound like you.
Yeah, I tried. The shipment with Lefty, we actually lost some of them, so I had to reship. But, it happens. Like I said, they're the ones who I sent the lime green endlers to. And unfortunately, that was my last pair, so I had to hook him up with a different strain. But I'm glad he's happy with them. And I see him telling a lot of people that he's happy with the endlers. So I'm glad that I can share these guppies and endlers with other people. So it's not just for my benefit. Like, I'm glad that other people are buying them and having success as well. So a lot of people will say, like, a week or two after they get them, they're already dropping fry. So that's a good sign.
It's a very good sign. Maybe you can help me out here as well. I have a tank just sitting right in front of me that the contents of this tank, it's a holding tank for Thirsty Rabbit at the moment. I want to send him some of my crebensis, and I'm just scared of doing it. I've gone down to the post office and I've spoke to them, and they said, look, we can do it. We can make it express post. There's no guarantee it's going to get there the next day. How do you approach shipping fish? Because I've never done it before, and I don't want to just send him a bag of dead fish.
So honestly, like, that was my biggest fear when I first started shipping fish. Like, I watched so many videos, and eventually I basically just did it. Like, one thing that I've gotten to is shipping with the breather bags. So I actually just shipped 2 shipments out with the breather bags. Before, I was just using regular bags and putting air in them. But as far as shipping goes over there, I'm not sure how much it is, but fish can live a lot longer than you think in shipping, as long as the temperature of the bags stay right. So make sure that you want to make sure that what your temperature is and his temperature is. You want to make sure if you need a heat pack, you need a heat pack. And one thing that I ship with that has really boosted the success is the blow-in insulation. So it's just like all crumbled up. You see people doing those unboxing videos where they have a bunch of this just insulation going everywhere. Yeah. And I use that, and make sure you line the box with styrofoam, and just try it out. Just line the box with styrofoam, get something to make sure that the fish or the bags aren't just sloshing around, and just send them. Since I started shipping fish, I've changed my technique. I don't know how many times. I've changed it pretty much every time I ship fish, just because I find faster ways to bag them up. I find faster ways to catch them. And another thing that you would want to do is, if you have any specimen containers or anything you can put the fish in, take them out of the tank. And I usually leave them in the specimen container for 2 days. So put them in the specimen container and then wait a day. The next day, do a complete 100% water change on that specimen tank. But that just allows the fish to get everything out of their system, and they're not going to be able to eat on anything as well, just so that when you go to ship them, they're not going to be able to use the bathroom and foul the water up. So use that. I always usually do a water change on the tank that I'm getting the fish out of that day, and I'll spray prime in it so that it helps combat the ammonia and nitrites for a couple days. So just little things like that I've learned over the amount of shipping fish. So biggest thing I can say is just try it out.
I'm glad I asked you because, I didn't think about pretty much 9 out of 10 of those things. Kiwi Mamo, hello. Sheps Aquatics said, I just heard you asking about trio or colonies. I try to buy 2 trios and start 2 colonies and then mix the DNA as I go. And there's my son. Hey, Harry. Say hi.
Hey, Harry.
Yes, I can help you. Take us through, what are your favorite fish at the moment in your fish room? And I'll be back in 1 sec.
All right. So my favorite fish in the fish room at the moment are probably the ones that I haven't yet shared in the 40 breeder. Bob Kaler's rainbow cichlids, having a lot of fun with them. I wasn't sure I was going to be happy with them at first, but I just wanted to try to breed something different. So I got them. They're beautiful fish. I put a couple pictures on Instagram, so you can go check those out. They're just absolutely stunning fish. I've actually got some fish coming in from Jeremy from Sergeant Tank next week, and it's something that I've never kept or bred, but we just talked about them when you were talking about shipping fish. But other than that, I mean, the guppies and the endlers, they're a staple here in my fish room just because that's what I breed and sell. But the 20-gallon tanks and the 40 breeders, that's where I'm playing with a bunch of different types of fish and just trying to see what I can breed.
No, that's good. I'll pretend that I heard all of that, but my son's like, how do I play this game? I'm like, I don't even know how to play this game, so I can't really tell you. Koi Dragon Aquatics, I just wanted to give a special shout out to Ugly Man's Reefing, who helped me last weekend stop this tank from smelling like a shoe. It's all working well. Just still haven't got the ACO to work yet, but we will get there. Take me through what are your plans for the future? Obviously, we've covered a few. We've covered off a whole bunch of topics that you've gone. Oh, actually, I have a lot of content to make videos of. But what were your plans, sort of YouTube-wise, in the next sort of month or two?
So, I want to definitely get back into live streaming. So, I haven't live streamed on my channel since the last time you were on my channel live streaming. And
a long time ago.
Yeah, I just miss it, but that goes back to the time frame of everything and not working. So now that I have been selling fish and now that I'm actually monetized on YouTube, it's given me some income from this to where I'm not having to work as much overtime and I'm not having to waste my life away in a factory, where I can do this a lot more. I can share my experiences with you all and I can hang out with you all a lot more. So I'm definitely going to try to get back into live streaming. I'm going to definitely research some videos. I don't have any. I have one planned right now that I was going to shoot today, but I had some other stuff going on. But I think I'm going to shoot it tomorrow, and then I'm just going to do some editing. But that brings me back to your question earlier about me uploading videos. So another reason why is I changed my gear. So my gear for making videos. So when I first started, it was just phone.
Yep.
Phone and my microphone plugged right into my phone. Well, I upgraded to a camera, the Canon M50, and I had to change editing softwares. So I would just shoot and edit on my phone. That made things super simple. I could shoot a video, edit it on my phone, pretty much at work. And then, but now I'm shooting on a camera. I'm having to take that SD card, put it in my computer, bring up Premiere Pro, and Premiere Pro is just like the craziest of crazy editing software. So there's a huge learning curve there, and it's definitely slowed me down. So that's another big reason. And I got a new phone, so my old microphone doesn't even plug into this phone anymore. So, they say if you're going to make videos, make sure you have a good image and good sound. So I don't want to put anything out there where it's not going to be good enough quality. So I think that's definitely slowed me down a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair enough. As I'm working on something at the moment that I'm like, I really wish that I had a better mic. There's not much I can do about it now. There are some mics that I'm looking at. They're not cheap. Because I think that's one thing as well. Like, you can get something that's cheaper, but it's not really practical in a long-term sense. So I'm better off maybe to save up and get something that you know is going to work properly. Madfish Stever, how are you? Your mail is on the way, finally. I got my act together and sent out, I think I sent out about 40 letters during the week to a lot of people. So if you are one of those, check your mailbox every day from now on. I'm excited to see more content come back from you. I think there's a lot that I learn, not just about fish, but about YouTube when you put videos out, and we always talk about it. Is there anything you want to cover off? We've sort of like raced through a lot of the topics a bit quicker than I anticipated, but is there anything that you want to talk about or bring up? The floor is yours.
One thing I want to ask, is your community like tea or coffee better? I couldn't decide which one I wanted to go with, so I decided to go with tea during this stream, but I definitely drink a lot of coffee. What about you?
The hard-hitting questions. I don't drink any hot drinks. I don't like drinks. Nah.
You don't like coffee?
No, I've never had a coffee.
Oh my gosh.
No,
you drink Red Bull.
Yeah, I get really bad eczema. And I feel like if I drink a hot drink that my body temperature just feels like it goes up, and then I get itchy and it just, my body doesn't like it. So I just steer clear of it. I can't have any dairy, so then there's no way I could have milk in there either. So I can't have hot chocolates. I used to drink black tea a bit, but that was sort of when I realized, I'm like, nah, this isn't for me. So now I just have an unhealthy obsession with Red Bull in the morning. It's sort of my coffee.
Hey, it gives you wings.
Yeah, and then you get tired at lunchtime. It's a bit weird. What do we got here? We've got GRB Aquatics coffee, Monica Lynn green tea, Blake Howden coffee all day. I'm waiting for Blackie to go turkey instead.
Hey, Lefty just said exactly how I am. Coffee in the initial morning and then tea the rest of the day.
No, that's
how it works. But one other thing I wanted to talk about was we made that video of breeding endlers and shrimp in the same tank. And I recently, since I got, I don't know, like 9 more 10-gallon tanks, I moved my shrimp to their own individual tanks. And the only shrimp I'm working with right now are the fire reds and the blue dreams.
Yep.
And my colonies have just 10 times exploded. And just because, like, I've never kept shrimp in a tank by themselves, but now that I've done it, I don't think I'll ever put them with endlers or guppies again, because it definitely takes away from the production of your shrimp.
Yeah, well, actually, it's really interesting because a lot of people say, you can keep them together, and as you and I have done, that you can still see they're breeding, but you're not noticing that they're picking off some. I've got, I think you watched the video, the Blackwater tank video. I've got 1 or 2 females in there and about 6 males. As it's just going to be a male-only tank, and a bunch of shrimp, but it is so dark and stuff in that tank. So many plants. I haven't seen a shrimp for a month, but I'm pretty sure if I pulled it all out, there'd be a bunch of shrimp in there. And actually, I was thinking today, if I get time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all of my endlers into another tank, and I'm going to pull out the real black bar endlers, and I'm going to take the crossbreeds out and leave the crossbreeds in a community tank and try and breed more of just that one strain of the black bars in this black water tank, because I don't know if you know, I got a bunch of fry. I put them in 3 or 4 different tanks, just little tiny fry. Didn't know if they're male or female or anything. The ones that I put in the the black water tank have they've grown maybe 4 to 5 times faster than all the others, and 90% tend to be male, and their colors are just way more vibrant than all the others as well. So I'm thinking might be a good idea to try and do it in the black water. Being someone that knows a lot about endlers and guppies, do you think there's a reason for that, or is it just maybe because they're in a tank on their own with no other fish?
So as far as them crossbreeding, I mean, I think that endlers are a fish that don't get crossbred very often. So I think that you're definitely going to lose some color there. I've never crossbred endlers and guppies together, but I think I would stick to just the endlers like you are. I would definitely try to take out all of the crossbreeds and try to get back to just your black bar endlers. And that's a strain that I actually just acquired. I got those from Jeremy from Sergeant Tank as well. So if you guys are looking for some black bar endlers, go check out Sergeant Tank's website. He's got some for sale on there. But I've never kept black bars before, but they're absolutely stunning. And yeah, I would like to see you get back to just the endler strains. They may be too far gone to where you're not going to be able to get back to the specific pattern, but I don't know. You may have to breed out a few generations before you actually get back to it.
No, I think I've still got some that are definitely the specific pattern, because there was one half black fancy guppy female, and that was the thing. When she popped off the kids, all of a sudden you had this black endler with the bright orange and green sort of stripe, but then there was still heaps of the original endler males. So that's what I've done, is I've gotten rid of all the black ones. They're beautiful fish, but I just want to maybe try and separate them now. So that, yes, I'll just get all the crossbreeds are doing their own thing, breeding together, and these ones are being more of a pure line. One interesting fact was I did put some in with my goldfish. The goldfish is like this big. Put the fry in there, and they've grown up completely fine. Like, really not interested in eating the endlers at all. So that's actually where I'm going to try and put them. I have a lot of Elodia going throughout all the top of the tank, so they'll have plenty of places to hide if they need. But working with the members of the Aquamate channel, we are trying to put something together. You're a member, so you know a bit about it. Trying to put together a tank that we can present, that we've all made a decision on. And currently, I'm giving away a bit now, they're occupying that tank, so I need to move them.
One question I wanted to ask you was, once you change to, because the tank before that, it wasn't Blackwater, if I'm not mistaken. Once you started adding everything to create the tannins and the Blackwater, did you see a better production rate in your endlers, or is it just about the same?
No, well, that's what they were all fry. There was no adults when I did that. So I've just put in a large piece of driftwood that I've turned into a waterfall. And the tank just went like a black tea, basically. It's like that really dark brown. Put the fry in there, and just the only thing, so no breeding, but the fry, just as I was saying before, grew way, way faster than all the other fry and all the other tanks, and they're way, way more colorful. So, yeah, I think that they benefit heavily from tannin. So now when I make this move and I put a bunch of adult females in there, I think we'll start to see something different. But I'm the same as you. I did set up another tank over here part of a project I did with Nano Tanks Australia. I've got a 10-litre tank, so it's like a 2.5 gallon or something, so it's tiny. And they sent me all this stuff for free, which was really nice, so that I could do a review for them and give them a bit of content that they could share with their customers. And I finished scaping it the other day. Really happy with it so far. And I put in some really bright red cherry shrimp that I got from Blake's Aquatics. And I lost one after a couple of days. So I'm a bit worried about the Amazonia Light, whether I jumped the gun on that. But there are a few in there. And I'm going to try and just have, as you said, just a shrimp-only tank and see how well they go. And they're really bright red, so if they breed, I should get some pretty high quality there. And I've got a tank over here with they're basically like black cherry shrimp with some pygmy cories and rasboras, and they're going nuts. But as you said, probably if the fish weren't there, they probably would have overtaken the tank already.
What are you feeding your shrimp only tank?
Nothing yet. So they're just picking off anything from the plants, but I'll grab something and show you.
Did you use the moss and stuff from your old tanks? Because one thing, I've never actually experienced this, but one thing I've always heard that is like if you set up a new tank and then you add shrimp and try to do like a shrimp only tank, that they're not going to have enough food to be able to thrive and survive. And I've always heard that you should try to put fish in there, and then if you want a shrimp only tank, then remove the fish later on and then add your shrimp in later. So I'm curious to see how that works out for you. And you saying that you lost one, I don't know if that may have been a cause or if it was just an accident, I guess, from the shrimp.
You might be right. It's a tricky one to cycle when you don't have fish and you're setting up a new tank. I did put some plants from other tanks. So for me, that was like any of the beneficial bacteria that was living on there. There's not going to be much of a bio load, obviously being shrimp, but having Amazonia Light. So for those, Amazonia Light is a aqua soil and it will leach ammonia. But the idea with light is that you should be able to just put it in and just go straight away. But I tested it. My ammonia was 0.5 or just under 0.5, so it was up. But then I did a water change and then put the shrimp in. So I may have jumped the gun, but coming back to what do I feed them? I'll feed them the algae wafers, but I'll just crush them up. So right. I'll grab one, I'll smash it up, turn it into a powder, and just sprinkle that in. So that'll give them something to feed off. But
I actually wanted to try that food. I wanted to try that extreme algae wafers for my plecos.
Well, my pleco is in love with it. I got sent this and some spirulina flakes and some just like community flakes to try out. And what I've been doing is I feed my goldfish likes these as well. So the goldfish and the sailfin pleco, they try and eat one of those each at least. And then all my other fish I feed the community flakes, extreme community flakes, and on day one, and then every alternate day I put in New Life Spectrum. So try and give them a bit of a mix. I feed these guys exactly the same food too. So it's nice.
I know a lot of people are crazy about the extreme krill flakes, and I got some of them from Aquarium Co-op because, you know, any brand that or anything that he basically talks about, everyone goes nuts for. But it is an amazing food. I mean, I've never had guppies or any other fish hit flakes as hard as the krill flakes. So I think extreme is basically taking over the fish food industry.
I didn't get the krill flakes. There's because it's flat. No,
Alex knows. It's been on the tonsil for an hour.
No, it's flat. Been on the
Thank
charger.
you, Sand Creek Aquatics. I appreciate it. But Blake Howden asks, would Endlers be okay with German blue rams? You ever keep German blue rams?
One, and I didn't have any luck with it. It had some parasite issue very, very quickly.
I've never kept them, but dang it, I don't want to say it. It's going to give it away.
I think you just did.
Okay, so I've kept Endlers and Guppies with electric blue Aquara, and they do all right. But I'm not really sure the temperament of German blue rams because I've always had hard water, so I've never even tried to keep them other than when I was in school. I kept a pair, and I just kept that pair by themselves. So, but if their temperament's all right, try it out. I mean, one thing you could do is breed out some of the Endlers if you have them in a different tank. And once you get some fry, once they get raised up, then go ahead and throw them in. Like if you have like a pair or a trio, obviously don't put them in there because then you might lose your Endler colony. But if you breed some and grow some out, that's when you want to try it. So that's what I would do.
There's a couple of things. I think rams are pretty placid. I don't think that they're too aggressive. I can be wrong. That's this from my personal experience. I had them in with, I think with Endlers actually, but they're very touchy, as Select Pet says. They like soft water and a high heat.
Yeah.
This is the krill flakes, isn't it?
I don't think so. Hold on.
It says here spirulina krill flakes, community crave. So yes, that is what I feed them. Unless there's a different type of krill flake, a different flavor.
That's what I feed.
It's interesting because it does say krill flakes on here.
Huh. Is it like, does it have a reddish tint to it?
Yeah, but it's also green as well. So I think it's got spirulina and krill flakes.
I just dropped a lot of mine on the floor.
Have I even opened this one yet? Yeah, so these ones are the spirulina flakes. You've got the krill flakes, and then this is a mix of the two, I think. So you got your red and spirulina in there as well. Spirulina - krill flakes. That makes sense.
You said someone sent you that food to try out?
Yes.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I got them sent from Corrine Pet Central, who's they're a pet store over in Perth, the other side of the country, who are opening an online store. So they sent them to me to try out, and just sort of help them online. If they're any good, I'm more than happy to let people know and direct them where to go to be able to buy it. Because I just scored a whole bunch of free food, which is awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I can't believe the size of this.
You feed your salt tank those too?
Yeah. I feed that to the clownfish. I haven't told anyone that I've got clownfish, have I? Well, now you know. That's the next video I'm working on.
Yeah, we're dropping too many hints here.
I know.
That's all right.
Rob93, how are you? Well, anyone have any questions for either Kendall or I? Because we'll have to wrap it up shortly because I have a 1-year-old birthday party to go to very shortly. So they're always fun. Thanks for this.
Last time I did a live stream, I was sitting on a exercise ball.
Yeah.
Oh, the other day, I was sitting on it, just looking into one of my tanks, and I had my aquascaping scissors in my back pocket. Yeah, my ass hit the floor so hard.
I
Now
wish
I'm
that was happening right now.
Now I'm sitting on a damn 5-gallon bucket. It's hurting my butt.
Yeah, I feel a bit tall up here on this thing. I need a smaller chair. Does anyone else store their flake food in the freezer? I found it keeps fresher. No, I don't.
Yeah, I don't do that either. Mine's actually in the worst spot possible, probably. So I keep it on top of this rack right here.
Dragon Lair saying Extreme make 10 different foods now. Krill flakes were the first, and the spirulina flake were next, and then the mixed, like I have. I think it's awesome having the mixed. Because do you feed your fish the same food every day, or do you mix it up?
I mixed it up, so I'll feed these krill flakes. I dropped the lid; it's all the way over there. I like the bug bites.
Ah, yes. Blake was talking about them. I'd like to try them.
See, this is what I wanted to recommend to you if for your shrimp only tank. Back to AE.
AE. Give us a look at that again. Okay. An American product?
It's basically just a powder.
Yep.
And it just basically creates a film, a biofilm for all of your shrimp.
What's it taste like?
So, tastes pretty good. I usually just take this spoon and I put it in my coffee every morning.
Blake Howden, my pleasure with the stickers.
Yeah.
I suppose now I'm getting dragged into this, thanks GRB, but there is a Aussie YouTuber that has come up with one of the most mind-boggling questions of the 2020 era. And he's been asking a lot of people, and I think Aquarium Co-op, Rachel O'Leary, KG Tropicals have all now been posed this question. And he's not here, so we will ask it for him. Would you prefer a shrimp-sized dog or a dog-sized shrimp? And that's the response I think most people have.
Definitely a shrimp-sized dog, because a dog-sized shrimp would just be terrifying. Shrimp are weird looking anyways. You get one the size of a damn Great Dane, and you're going to be pissing yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how easily
that thing coming after you.
I think I'm the same.
Yeah, just imagine all the mailmen that would quit their jobs if they seen a damn shrimp size or a dog sized shrimp coming at them.
Factor is good. I'm a bug bite extreme completely, as in exclusively. Is that right, Dragon Lair? I've seen guys tuck a little back to AE in their lip. I don't know what that means.
I just read that. That's funny.
I don't know what that means.
Like a dip? Like chewing tobacco?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Max feeds his fish crickets and mosquito larvae sometimes. Do you do any live foods?
I was doing live brine shrimp, baby brine, in the old fish room. Currently, I don't have it set up in here. So once I get all of the racks built and find a little area, I'm going to build a shelf and put a couple different live brine shrimp hatcheries. So hopefully I can get some of that going, because the guppies hit it really hard. I feed the frozen baby brine a lot, but live baby brine can't get better than that. I
need to set one up.
I haven't tried any other live foods.
I need to set one up. Now that I've got a saltwater tank, maybe I can have another saltwater tank, just the brine shrimp. Well, I think we've sort of covered everything. And you answered the question at the start very well. It took us down that journey that it sort of stumped me a little bit to go, well, normally this takes about 25 minutes to get all this information out. But You've been an awesome guest as always. I appreciate it. Thank you everybody in the chat for joining us. I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to Otter Creek Aquatics, what are you doing with yourself? I will post a link in the chat now. And see if I spelled anything wrong. I don't think so. Make sure you go over and subscribe. If you haven't hit the like button while you've been here, please do. We've almost hit 40 likes. So I know a few people may have missed that one. But
Dang, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's very good.
Like I said, your community is mind-blowing.
Hey.
I think you got the best community on YouTube. Look at all these members in here.
I do think I've got the best community on YouTube.
It's unreal.
Heaps of awesome people, heaps of nice people. And it's funny because, like, the numbers always stay around the same. So some people miss. There's always other people there. So it's good. It's good to see new faces every week, and old faces that we haven't seen for a while every week too. But yes, they are awesome. So thank you, everyone. Make sure it's your Friday night or Saturday morning. Have an awesome weekend. We'll be looking out for your next video, Kendall. Is there a time you're thinking about doing streams? You were mentioning.
So right now, we're supposed to be off every single Sunday. And that's one reason that I don't stream anymore, is because I don't like going at random times during the week.
Yeah.
Like almost every fish tuber that streams does it at a specific time on a specific day, and that brings a lot of people back. So it's hard to jump in and just stream every now and then when all of these people have these specific times, because you don't want to step on anybody's toes while they're streaming. But as of right now, I'm off on Sundays, so we may bring back the Sunday streams, Sunday nights. But other than that, I should have a new video coming out soon. So
definitely. Sundays are a hotly contested time slot, so we'll work something out, and but we'll make sure we can try and get there and support you as well.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Have an awesome time. Stay safe, and we'll see you. Well, the next time I'll see everybody will be next Sunday, my time, next Saturday night, your time, with Dr. Black and Blake's Aquatics and a few of the other Aussies. But thanks again. Hey, Zen Ginger. Bye, Zen Ginger.
Hey,
see you guys
bye.
later.
See you guys.